On the night of December 2nd, 1984, while most of the city of Bhopal, India was peacefully asleep, one of the deadliest industrial disasters in human history was about to unfold. Without warning, a deadly cloud of toxic gas escaped from a pesticide factory, silently spreading across nearby neighborhoods. Within minutes, people woke up gasping for air. Their eyes burned intensely. Their lungs felt like they were on fire, and panic swept through the streets. Families desperately tried to escape, but many collapsed before they could reach safety. By sunrise, thousands of lives had been lost, and countless others were left with injuries that would affect them forever. This was not a natural disaster. It was a tragedy caused by human error, poor safety measures, and devastating negligence. To understand what happened, we need to look at the factory itself. The pesticide plant was owned by Union Carbide India Limited, a subsidiary of an American company. The factory produced pesticides using a highly toxic chemical called methyl isocyanate, commonly known as MIC. MIC is an extremely dangerous substance that can become deadly if it comes into contact with water. Over time, the factory had reduced maintenance costs and several important safety systems were either turned off or not functioning properly. Warning signs had appeared long before the disaster, but they were largely ignored. Late on the evening of December 2nd, water somehow entered one of the storage tanks containing over 40 tons of MIC. The chemical reaction caused the temperature and pressure inside the tank to rise rapidly. Workers noticed unusual pressure levels, but by the time they realized the seriousness of the situation, it was too late. Shortly after midnight, the safety valve burst open, releasing a massive cloud of poisonous gas into the air. Since MIC is heavier than air, the toxic cloud stayed close to the ground, drifting directly into the densely populated neighborhoods surrounding the factory. The people of Bhopal had no warning. There were no emergency evacuation plans, no public announcements, and no instructions about what to do. As the gas spread through the streets, residents woke up coughing violently and struggling to breathe. Many experienced unbearable pain in their eyes and lungs. Children cried in fear, parents searched desperately for their families, and thousands ran blindly through the darkness, not knowing where safety could be found. Roads quickly filled with chaos as people collapsed while trying to escape. Hospitals became overwhelmed almost immediately, with doctors treating patients without even knowing what chemical had poisoned them. The human cost was unimaginable. Official reports initially estimated around 3,000 deaths within the first few days, but many independent organizations believe that the total number of deaths over the following years reached between 15,000 and 20,000 people. More than 500,000 people were exposed to the toxic gas. Survivors suffered permanent lung damage, blindness, breathing disorders, neurological problems, weakened immune systems, and long-term health complications. Pregnant women experienced miscarriages, and many children born after the disaster faced serious birth defects and developmental problems. For many families, the suffering did not end after that night. It continued for generations. As rescue operations continued, questions quickly emerged. Why had the safety systems failed? Why were dangerous chemicals stored in such large quantities? Why were nearby communities never informed about the risks? Investigations found multiple failures, including poor maintenance, inadequate employee training, faulty equipment, and significant cost-cutting measures that weakened the plant's safety standards. Critics argue that many of these problems could have been prevented if proper industrial safety practices had been followed. The legal battle that followed became almost as controversial as the disaster itself. Survivors demanded justice and compensation, while governments and corporations argued over responsibility. In 1989, Union Carbide reached a settlement with the Indian government for $470 million. Many victims believe this amount was far too small, considering the enormous loss of life and lifelong suffering. Years later, debates about accountability, environmental cleanup, and compensation continue. Even decades after the tragedy, some areas around the abandoned factory have remained contaminated, raising ongoing concerns about public health and environmental safety. The Bhopal gas tragedy changed industrial safety laws around the world. Governments introduced stricter regulations for hazardous chemical storage, emergency planning, and worker protection. Companies handling dangerous substances were forced to improve safety systems and prepare detailed disaster response plans. The tragedy also became a powerful reminder that corporate responsibility must always come before profit. One small mistake involving hazardous chemicals can have consequences that last for generations. Today, more than 4 decades later, the story of Bhopal remains one of the darkest chapters in industrial history. It reminds us that technology without responsibility can become incredibly dangerous. The victims of Bhopal are remembered not only for the tragedy they endured, but also for the lessons their suffering taught the world. Their story continues to inspire demands for stronger environmental protection, safer workplaces, greater corporate accountability, and justice for affected communities. The Bhopal gas tragedy is more than a historical event. It is a warning that negligence can destroy thousands of lives in a single night, and that such a disaster must never be allowed to happen again. One night changed the lives of hundreds of thousands forever. The Bhopal gas tragedy stands as a reminder that safety, responsibility, and accountability are not optional. They are essential. If we fail to learn from history, history has a way of repeating itself. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true stories from history.